he fell asleep, why he thinks he fell asleep, that there were drugs in the car, that he knew there were drugs in the car, that there was any possession by Mr. Floyd of drugs that day that he saw. If we totally avoid the word drugs and just have Mr. Hall say, I was the passenger in the car, which is already clear. There's video and evidence, just for your knowledge, that Mr. Hall is in the passenger seat and is removed by the police. Beyond that, if that were established that he was the passenger when the police came up to the car, what was Mr. Floyd's condition immediately that he observed immediately before that? Would you agree that that's not incriminating if we keep all the mention of drugs or why or anything like that?
No, Your Honor, I do not agree that.
How would that, when it did not incriminate the clerk who said he thought he was high, how would it be that Mr. Hall saying that would incriminate him?
Well, because first of all, Judge, the inquiry is not what evidence is in front of the jury. What testimony have they heard?
No, I'm just using that as an analogy on how that certainly didn't incriminate the store clerk by saying, well, he appeared high. Well, Mr. Hall saying, well, he appeared like he was falling asleep and it happened suddenly, without anything else, seems to be a parallel type evidence. So I was using it as an analogy.
I understand, Judge, but the whole point here is to prevent Mr. Hall from incriminating himself. And him even answering that question that he was in the car puts him in very close proximity with Mr. Floyd, very close in time before he's alleged to have ingested drugs. And again, it exposes him on that third-degree murder charge. If there were to be a future third-degree murder charge, and Mr. Hall was charged with basically being involved in this drug activity that had caused Mr. Floyd to pass away due to an overdose, him even being in that car incriminates him in terms of behaviors of Mr. Floyd, what he observed when he observed it. So no, Your Honor, I would argue that it definitely would expose him to potential incrimination.
Well,
not to mention, Judge, that this is a car where drugs have been found twice.
Well, and the state has all that evidence. That's pretty clear. And I know we're not talking about, but that didn't incriminate him. The video of him sitting next to George Floyd does not incriminate him, or not has not subjected him to criminal liability, at least yet. So and you're saying beyond that?
That's the key word, Judge, is yet.
Yeah.
Is yet. The question
but you think his observations of how George Floyd looked would incriminate him?
Absolutely.
I don't see how that would put him